Hello and welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel. It's lift-off for Tom Cleverley's Hornets this season as a late Milita Ribic winner secured an opening day win for Watford against Millwall at the Den. I'm joined by three of the best people to talk about the result. As usual, I've got Charlie Zazera. As usual, I've got croaky Sam Yuko. Sam, just a word of warning for people. Do you want to maybe just say a few words so we can get used to the different voice?
Yeah, better get used to this after a heavy one yesterday, to be honest with you. So I'll be doing a bit less talking today, I think, which is probably to the benefit of the video as well.
Mate, I tell you what, if you were a Sean Dyche impressionist, you'd be making a load of money. Robbo, and we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend, friend of the channel, Mr. Paul Robertson. Robbo, what a pleasure, mate. Lovely to see you. Obviously, ex-Millwall as well, which we'll get into. But, mate, thanks so much for coming on. How you getting on, mate?
No worries. My pleasure, fellas. Always great to join you guys. And yeah, doing well. Just obviously looking for a job at the moment, but enjoying the family time. And yeah, I've set up my own coaching business, one-to-one stuff with the local community. So yeah, I'm absolutely enjoying that time at the moment. But yeah, hopefully get back in the game as soon as possible.
Do you know what I was going to say to the people who are watching live, and if you're watching this back, drop us a question for Robbo if you want one answered. I mean, one from my end, mate, was just sort of what kind of role are you looking for next? Is it another assistant job? Is it maybe we might see Paul Robertson, the manager, one day?
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, that's my goal. I've done all my badges, so I'm up to date with everything as much as you can. But we know how difficult football is. It's when you're in the game, it's great because you're working and you're enjoying what you do. Next minute, it all changes because you lose your job and now you're looking and searching and yeah, the phone goes quiet when you're not in work. So it's quite tough at times, but I always find that I've got a good reputation in the game, and I know that opportunity will come around again. And yeah, hopefully, I'd love to be a manager. Whether that would be lower league to start with, I'd like to build my reputation up like I did as a footballer. I'd like to start from the lower leagues and build my way up. But if not, then yeah, I'd like to go in as maybe like an assistant manager or individual coach.
What does Robbo Ball look like? What would your team, your principals look like?
Team principals, obviously, I've played for numerous teams and played different styles of football. But for me, the most important thing is winning, is creating a winning atmosphere, a winning environment, and yeah, a lot of people confident, a lot of people positive around the building. Yeah, I mean, I like the attacking side of the game. I also like my defenders to defend. I want my defenders to be 1v1 defenders and enjoy that challenge of. You're going to have to, sometimes in the game, you're going to have to be open and you're going to have to deal with it. And that's what I want. I want my defenders to be brave and defend like that. But I also, I want my attackers to go out and show what they're all about and be creative.
Top man. Charlie, how are you getting on, mate? How's your weekend been? It's decent?
Beautiful. Opening day, got down to southeast London, met a couple of guys around the ground, which was great. Met Charlie Bush, who was doing his TikToks for us. If anyone hasn't seen that, make sure you check that out, link in the description. But yeah, yesterday was just, I think Sam called it an all-timer, one of the best away days, especially when the expectations are quite low. And the way it turned around, it's just great being amongst kind of Watford supporters again, seeing the limbs in the stand. And then, yeah, I just got back, got a few tinnies on the way home and had a chilled out day today. So look forward to talk about the game again.
Go on, Charlie. Do you know what? It had to be an all-time with Sam's voice like that. Sam, talks through the boat. I saw a lot of Watford fans on the way to the Den, and it's like a bit of a tradition, is it, for away fans to get there early? What time are you on the boat? What songs are you singing? I'm not going to say how many drinks you had because I imagine it was a few. But because I mean, before we went live, Robbo thought that Sam had just rocked out of bed. Which,
to be fair, Robbo's not wrong with that one. Yeah, Robbo's not wrong with that one. Sorry, yeah, my Wi-Fi just lagged there a bit as well.
He got off already, Sam.
God. Yeah, no, boat was at about, I think it left about 9 a.m, 9:15. A few drinks on there, a bit of Elton John being sung, going past Parliament and the London Eye and everything like that. It was a bit of a rush to get to the ground in time for kickoff, but yeah, like Charlie said with how I described it, it was an absolute all-timer of an away day. Drinks afterwards with Mike Parkin and his son Arlo. Happy birthday to Arlo as well, who celebrated his birthday with that win at Millwall. No better way to do it, but yeah, absolutely top away day. And I just wanted to share this image as well that I found on the highlights from Georgie Chakvetadze's free kick as well. if you can see that, and you can just see me and Charlie lurking behind the goal there, you can almost tell straight away that the ball would hit the back of the net. So yeah, an absolutely unbelievable away day.
Do you know what? Shout out to Charlie Bush as well. He got the video on camera and he goes, he's going to stick this top left. And he did, to be fair, Geordie Chakvetadze. So we'll touch on it in just a moment. Big shout out to Hertfordshire Mind. This video is brought to you in partnership with Hertfordshire Mind. All the links to their great work is in the description below. And also, we've raised a bit of money already off the opening game of the season. Obviously, Watford scoring 3 goals. We've pledged that every time Watford score, we're going to donate £1. I'm going to do mine at the end of the month. Charlie and Sam, I think, are as well. But people are already pledging money before the start of the season and yesterday as well. And I think we're already on over 100 quid after game week 1. So a huge shout out to everyone who got involved. And the link is in the description if you want to get involved as well. Let's get on to yesterday. Robbo, Millwall 2, Watford 3. Before we do that, actually, I just wanted to give you the opportunity, Robbo, to talk about Matija Sarkic, who obviously tragically passed away at the age of just 26. A lovely touch from the Watford fans with the banner in the away ends. A lovely service before the game as well. Which is really touching moment. I just the opportunity, Robbo, to talk about your relationship with him, and I know you worked with him at Millwall in the Great Escape season as well.
Yeah, I mean, when we first brought Matty in, we knew what type of goalkeeper he was. Yeah, he's got a great presence about him, but obviously you don't really know what people are like until you meet them on a day-to-day basis and see what their personalities are like. And yeah, for me, what a beautiful human being. I mean, he'd light a room up when he walked in with his smile. He was very infectious. He was always wanting to learn. Obviously, he would do a lot of work close with Andy Marshall, the goalkeeping coach, who has had him at numerous clubs as well and taken him wherever he's been at Birmingham. And obviously, he was at Wolves at the time when we signed him from Wolves. But yeah, I mean, it's just so sad. Such a young age and just out the blue. I mean, we just enjoy every moment, don't we? And that's what we got to do. Every time we wake up in the morning, it's how can we enjoy our day as much as we can, because you never know. And that was the thing with Matty is that he was fit, he was healthy, he was young, he had a great career ahead of him as a goalkeeper. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just been taken away. His life's been taken away.
So sad. I mean,
a great goalkeeper. I mean, yeah, really good goalkeeper. Great shot stopper, great presence about him, and yeah, just in general, lovely guy to have around the building, and yeah, just a great character and personality to be around.
Yeah. The tribute yesterday was, like, Watford fans are great for these kind of things, but the Millwall fans as well, and it was touching. I'm getting goosebumps now just talking about it, but it's just nice to see everyone come together, and we've had quite a few messages from Millwall fans kind of thanking us. So. Yeah. Well done to the Watford fans, especially the guys who did the banner, and well done to the Millwall fans as well. It was a lovely tribute. Yeah, really, really sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in terms of that was pre-match. We'll touch on the lineup. Charlie, I guess Sam, I'm gonna not. This is nothing to be rude, mate, but I'm probably going to limit sort of what to say, Matt, only because I don't want it to go completely. Let's go through the lineup. Let's go through the lineup to start with. From Watford's point of view, it was a 3-4-3 that we've become accustomed to under Tom Cleverley in the 3 at the back system. Daniel Batman in goal, back 3 of Porteous, Sierralta, Pollock, Ryan Andrews at right wing back, Jeremy Ngakia playing at left wing back, Moussa Sissoko, the captain, alongside Dele Bashiru, Edu Kiembe, Bayo, and Georgie Chakvetadze across the 3. Charlie, just first off, your initial reaction when it came out, it was quite close to the team that we predicted, but any surprises in there from Tom Cleverley's selections?
No, I think we spoke about in the last video. We can see the shape he's been working with. Obviously, Captain Wes, who was injured. It was actually nice yesterday seeing in the celebrations Wes with all the players. So hopefully he's back fit soon. But it's kind of what we expected. It was really nice seeing Kiembe and Chakvetadze, especially Chakvetadze in the free role. He was absolutely everywhere. And then Ngakia I want to speak about a bit later, and Kiembe again, who I thought was really good. But Robbo, what did you make of how Millwall lined up? I know this graphics kind of fine. Yeah, no. What did you make of it? Individuals kind of compared to the lads that you coached last season?
Yeah, well, pretty much all of these lads I've worked with that were there. Obviously, you've got your senior experienced players like your Hutchinson, Cooper, and Saville there through the middle of the park. You've got your Watmore, again, real talented player, always creative, and again scored the 2 goals. So there's no surprise there. When he does get in front of goal, he does score goals. Obviously, the big surprise for me was Eze Romain. I didn't think he'd start. But obviously, Neil believed that he's had a real good pre-season, but he's a real talent. But I didn't think he wasn't in the game as much as what I'd liked. Maybe that was because he started off wide right in front of Leonard. Didn't really get involved in the game. Didn't really look to get on the ball as much as what I know he can. And I would like to see him in the 10 instead of George Honeyman. I think that would have been the preferred switch. Maybe Honeyman wide right with Lenny and Romain in there, just because of the quality that he can bring in them areas a little bit more. Plus, when you got players like Romain, like you say, it's the same with the wizard, the Georgian wizard, is that you always want them players on the ball, don't you? Like them players in them areas, they are always going to cause so many problems. Yes, out of possession, you're going to have a problem with him because he doesn't want to defend. That's the type of player he is. He's not a defensive-minded player. But you know that when you get them players on the ball, that is when the other teams come alive, because they know what they're going to get from him, but they also know that they're going to get the service that he provides. And Romain's one of them players as well. He's a very talented young player, but he needs to be involved in games where he's on the ball all the time.
Robbo, you mentioned how you've worked with a number of these players before. I don't know how easy it is for you to talk about it, but in terms of if you were coaching at Watford, if you were on Tom Cleverley's coaching staff, what areas would you have looked to exploit from a Watford point of view against this Millwall team?
The areas to exploit, obviously down the wide areas, really, like get the ball into the wing backs, which I felt Watford did towards the end of the first half. They started to get the ball wider. It was tending to go quite through the middle quite a lot. But when you saw the space with Ryan and Ngakia, obviously it's tough for Jeremy as well, because he's naturally right-footed. So to play on the left, I know it's hard. It's to adjust to them positions that you're not quite comfortable with. It's hard to get involved in games. But I felt that he used his knowledge really well. He used his experience really well in them situations. And Ryan, yet again, could he have got forward a little bit better in the first half and created that space when the ball was transferring from side to side? Again, the two-sided centre-halves, could they have maybe just made the pitch a little bit wider in possession? Because obviously we're going to touch on it a little bit later with the analysis stuff, is that I sort of found that the back three were really tight on top of each other, even in possession. It felt like there was no space to sort of play the ball to each other, really, like just give themselves an extra 10 or 15 yards when Siriata's in possession in that central position.
Charlie, I guess one of the biggest questions, Sam, and it's the obvious ones, and we'll touch on the key moments in just a second, as Robbo mentioned, but the one that I came away with yesterday is a great result for Watford opening day, as we mentioned how difficult it is to go to the Den against a Millwall team that, look, I mean, I looked at the odds on Sky Bet. A lot of people have had them down as one of the relegation favourites this season, or to be in and around the mix. And Watford, to be fair, weren't far away from that as well. Was yesterday Watford being good or getting a little bit lucky, or did maybe Millwall deserve a little bit more? Where do you find yourself on those three options?
I actually, after calming down from yesterday, and I was buzzing after the win, and I still am, I think Watford are very lucky to have won that game. And I think Millwall will be feeling very unlucky not to have won that. I think in hindsight, a draw would probably have been a fair result. I think Neil Harris afterwards as well said that he felt Millwall did enough to win the game, but we'll go into the goals a lot more. But on another day, football's about fine margins. Millwall score those two goals where they score those two chances where they hit the post in the first half, the second half, to shaft the line. I thought the Millwall goalkeeper really struggled, and a goalkeeper at this level, in my opinion, shouldn't be conceding directly from a corner. And on another day, those fine margins go against Watford. And because of that, I did feel that a point probably would have been a fair result, but I'm not here complaining. And obviously 3 points is the most important thing. And it's positive that Tom Cleverley can have things to work on while having 3 points in the bank as well.
Charlie, before Robbo gets into sort of that narrow back three that he touched upon there, what was your thoughts on the game and just Watford's performance overall?
Do you know what? I thought it was a good performance. I think Sam's right. And when you look at the stats, I think they had 2 XG and we only had 1.12. They kind of did have the bigger opportunities, and we'll show it when Robbo's talking about the defenders, but they had a chance right at the end, and I couldn't believe how much of a sitter it was. So I think Sam's spot on about there's plenty for us to improve on. However, I did think our intent and the way we tried to play was really good. And again, I just want to shout out, I feel like I've done it for quite a few times after Clevs has kind of coached the team, but this is the first time I can really see a Watford coach imprint what he wants to do with his team and the way he wants to play. I thought we tried to do the right things. And I think sometimes just individual errors cost us, and that's kind of why Millwall got loads of big chances. But I think the way we tried to play our application, and I think the mentality as well, I want to show it a bit later, but the way we responded to goals, I know we kind of went 1-0 and then 2 goals down, but if you actually look at kind of how we responded, we tried to keep the ball and keep playing and create chances. I think Sam said something before we went live, which I thought was quite accurate. We didn't create a lot, really. We didn't create any much clear-cut chances. Ryan had a really good effort saved in the first half when he cut in and a shot of his left foot. But I thought it was a good performance. I thought we tried everything. Maybe it wasn't as cohesive as we'd liked, but the fact that we can come away from Millwall after the first game with injuries with 3 points, I think Tom's just got to take the positives there and work on the negatives. But I was pleased watching it. Like, I wasn't thinking we're that. It's not like a massive smash and grab. We were well in the game, and it was ebbed and flowed. But I was pleased with the performance.
I have to say as well, Charlie, just on sort of trends we've seen from Watford over maybe the last season or so, I felt when it went back to 2-2, Watmore's put it in. I mean, I felt like a lot of times last season we probably would have caved in and crumbled. And to actually go on to get the winner made a nice change. Do we maybe want to get in some of the key points of analysis, Charlie, and just sort of pick out some stuff that I know Robbo, with his tactical mind and someone who's got the coaching badges and the experience to back up, rather than us three waffling about it like we're at the pub. Go on, Charlie. Tactical
analysis.
I
mean, I've got some screen grabs, but I just want to let Robbo lead with it. He kind of mentioned Watford's now back three. So, Robbo, if you just go with kind of what you think, and I'll get some screen grabs, and hopefully there's some that we shared and spoke about that are relevant. So, what did you make of the three at the back for Watford yesterday?
I thought, do you know what? It was a totally different Watford team to what is normally goes to a team like Millwall. And I think Millwall set the intentions from the kickoff with what they were all about and what they wanted to do. It was the long ball straight onto Watford. But now you've got players like Pollock, you've got Siriata, and you've also got Porteous. They're prepared now to stick their head in where it's going to hurt. And that's the difference I noticed more with the Watford team. Obviously, the two midfield as well, like Deli Bashiri and Sissoko, I thought them two had a really good balance in throughout the game. They sat in front of the three, protected them when they needed to protect them, but they found real good spaces and played them balls through the lines into the attacking players. And yeah, with what you're talking on there, that it's just that cutting edge now with Watford. I think, like you say, Tom will take all the positives from the game 100%, and he'll be picky with certain bits and pieces. Not a lot. Don't get me wrong. There wasn't a lot. It's just now trying to fine tune it and make sure that balance is not conceding the goals that they're giving away, because they were quite easy goals to give away. So yeah, just my point on this. So here now, obviously, Porteous is playing on the left. Pollock, was playing on the left of the three. Again, naturally not a left footer. So for me, look at that space there. See, what I'd like now from a side centre half is I'd like him to drive into that space. So now you're making opposition teams think a little bit more. As soon as you start driving into that space, now that's a different proposition, because the Millwall players here, so that's the Nor there that's going to shut down Deli. So as soon as that ball goes there, again, Tom Bradshaw's gone over to shut him down. Siriata's kept his distance, which is great. But now I'd like to see Porteous just drag himself out a little bit wider now, because now that gives Honeyman a problem. And that will allow Ryan, now with his width, just to drag their fullback back a little bit more. So Joe Bryan now's got to think, wow, or what he's doing is because Watford were playing Kiembe up top, wide as well, what's he going to do now with the fullback, but also the wide man, which was Duncan Watmore on the left-hand side in the first half, because we're not seeing Romain Eze in these pictures now. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the side centre-halves, when they're in their areas, just maybe step into their spaces a little bit better.
It's a great point on Pollock, Charlie. I wanted to bring you in there because a lot of people lauded him as man of the match yesterday. And, Ron makes a great point there that you forget, because he did play well, is the fact that he's not naturally a left-sided centre-back rather. And Wesley Hoot has always been that man in a back two, would play at the left of a two, or play on the left in a three, or play in the centre. Was that something, did you notice that in real time? The sort of that Pollock maybe isn't that comfortable in that position, but he still went on to play well?
I just, like Robbo said about the early game, it was typical, like a start to Millwall. They were putting it right on us, balls in the box. And I think, like Robbo said, that's where these defenders excelled, especially Matty Pollock. I think he won 12 aerial duels, and the person who got the fewest after that was 6, so double the amount. I can get some stats up in a bit, but I thought all of our centre halves were good in terms of defending our box, which was vital, especially in the first couple of minutes. What I kind of wanted to go on to and what I wanted to ask Robbo about, and there's a few scary examples here. Let's get the negatives out of the way, but it was kind of, Robbo, what did you make of our defenders, kind of the shape, especially, I spoke about it earlier when we were trying to do the right things, but we lost it in bad areas sometimes, and I felt like we were really badly out of shape. How is that something where you just got to coach and make sure these mistakes don't happen, or do you think you could be a bit pragmatic and be a bit more deep?
Yeah, no, I think it's just, I think that's a real good high line there. That clip there, sorry, Charlie, that you just had there. See, for me, my only problem here is Ryan. So Ryan now, because maybe he's just gone a little bit more attacking, as soon as that ball's turned over now in these areas, it's just to get yourself back into that position a little bit more narrow by George Honeyman. So just allow yourself now to be that extra body that's there protecting them possible counter-attacks. But again, this is Tom's team now. This is how Tom wants them to play. Obviously, with me, my defensive nous with how I see things is I always think of the best possibilities to put yourself in good positions, knowing that the ball could break down in like these areas where you are now in better positions that you can nullify them quick counter-attacks that will stop that quickly.
Robbo, give us just on the three at the back system that Cleverly said he's going to play throughout the system, this season rather. What's the pros and cons of it from your perspective?
The pros and cons of it is obviously when you're in attack, when you're attacking in the five, then obviously you've got more bodies forward, so you're going to create more overloads and getting the ball in the wide areas and getting them diversions in the centre of the pitch with the extra bodies in there. It's how you want to move the teams. My only worry for Watford is and this is just minor because is just the mobility at the back. That's my only worry with
in mind or
with how just the three that's like the side areas. So the two side men, so like your Porteous and your Pollocks on them side. But that's just getting used to this formation and how Tom wants them to play it. And if they can get that understanding right, then again, see for me here now, look at Porteous, where he's at. So you've got Siriata that's on the 6-yard box. You've got Pollock here now, but then you've got Ngakia. So look, there's the overload on the back already. So that's your worry. Is Porteous should now be more, he should be the one that's in the 6-yard box here, just tucked in. So now he can take, is it Watmore? So because this is where the goal leads to. And again, Siriata, obviously, he goes with his weaker foot, and it's just it's a scuffed clearance. When you look at it, he's falling over. Does he really need to fall over? I think possibly his best situation there is kick it out for a corner. Just defend. Just put it into an area where you know you're clearing your lines anyway. But he scuffs his clearance. He falls over, and it bounces to Watmore. He has a touch, and he smashes it in the back of the net. But yeah, when I'm looking at it, my worry is like Porteous there where he's at. He should be like just in here by the 6-yard box, on the edge of the 6-yard box. And then that allows now you're man v man in the box defending there. Yeah.
The last kind of clip, and like Sam will know from being in the away end when we're kind of trying to see out the game, we were having good spells of possession, but like we were just making silly little mistakes, and it was just these turnovers. And I think again, I want to get the negatives out of the way, but I just wanted to highlight kind of what Sam was saying about how kind of lucky we were. But you could see here when Porteous kind of didn't win his duel, and then we're just 2-on-2. Look at where Ryan is in the space up there. And then this was the one that really kind of worried me. This is 1 on from that one. Look at this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 against our 2. And I think this one actually did lead to a goal. It was an overload, and Watmore had the space of the den to just really, really finish. And then it was kind of towards the end, it was really nervy. And again, I don't want to dig out Porto, but he kind of lost his duel. And this was the really big chance. And just look at kind of this. Just look at the shape where we were compared to what we were talking about in the previous clips, where you want Porto and where you want our structure. And this was after we made it 3-2. And look, it falls to, I think is that Watmore?
Yeah, Watmore, because he played it straight into Backman's hand, didn't he?
It's a bad miss, isn't it? In my opinion.
Yeah, it's about from Dunk's point of view, with the 2 goals he's just scored. when I'm seeing that ball go to his feet, my eyes are lighting up for him, thinking this is a goal, because I expected him to score, but luckily for Watford, he played it straight into backman. So it was one to get away with. But these are my only worries, and Tom will be doing the same. We're not making like points of going, this is what Tom should be looking at, because Tom will be looking at it, because again, he's a young manager and he wants to learn and he wants to develop the right way. And this is just my analysis head on with and obviously when I work with defenders at Millwall, obviously I work with the younger lads at defenders there at Millwall anyway. So for me, my eyes light up when I'm watching defensive stuff, because I'm just wanting to help. That's all I'm wanting to do. But the back three, like your five, when you play a five or you play the 3-4-3, when it's going well and when it's attacking, it looks beautiful. But when you have these moments and teams are starting to get into areas where, like we talked on before, like you made good points there, Charlie, I thought Watford controlled the game to start with, but they let Millwall get back into it. And then when you let a team like Millwall get back into the game, then there's only one way that game could have gone, and that would have been in Millwall's favour. But I felt Watford controlled the game, never really give Millwall too much stuff first half. But then second half, they started to look tired. Like you say, Porteous, Pollock with his head injury as well. He looked like he started to tire. They started to get dragged out into areas they didn't want to get dragged out to. And Millwall started to grow into the game. But also, Sema came on and he wanted to be more forward thinking instead of defensive thinking. Now, when you go to a team like Millwall away from home, sometimes that's where you got your Sema there going, Sema, look, we know what you can do going forward. Let's just sit in our shape. Let's just be aggressive and solid. And then we now can just give the ball to our attacking players and get them on the front foot. And then that's as a more solid back five. Let's work our way up the pitch now where we're all organised in case it does break down quickly.
Robbo, just a couple of questions before we move on to the positives of Watford performance. But one, this is our average positions. I wanted to ask, what did you think about the gaps between kind of Andrews and his position? Quite advanced, and that is his strength. Do you think he could have been a bit more pragmatic? And we'll talk about kind of Ngakia, who I thought was really good. And secondly, you talk about kind of working with the back three. What do you envision that looks like for Tom this week? Is he showing them the clips, and is it kind of work with the defensive coaches and how to deal with kind of the different phases?
Yeah, who is the defensive coach there? They've got a defensive coach.
We've got a few. I'm not sure which one specialises defensively.
Yeah, I don't know who's specifically on it, Robbo, but we've got obviously Clevs, Armin Cavallo's come through the academy, Damien Lathrope, who was the Watford women, Javier Pereira's come back from working with Slav. But in honestly,
Garrido from Real Madrid.
And Garrido's coming from, but we don't know the specific.
So no, for me, it's like the analysis work's important, because again, that's where you get your work in. So if you're watching the videos, you're watching the games back, you're going to you're maybe going to sit down with the back three and ask them questions. Look, what do you think? Because you want to get them understanding, and then that's when the work then on the training pitch again is just organisation and controlling yourselves as players. I mean, for me, because I played in the back three and I played as a wing back as well, so I know the positions how they really should be. And if you get that slide back up there, Charlie, the one of the shape. So this is quite an interesting one, especially when you notice Ryan's positioning and you've got Jeremy's positioning, he's just in front of Pollock on his toes. So let's just say the ball's in the middle of the pitch here. Jeremy's in a good position. Wayne already. Wayne, flip me. Wayne wishes he was playing right wing back. Ryan in the right back wing back area here, is he a little bit too advanced if the ball is in the middle of the pitch now? Because with a player like Duncan Watmore, he'll know, all right, well, if you're going to run on to Joe Bryan, for instance, I'm just going to cheat here now and I'm just going to wait. So now if that ball does break down, look at that space. Now Porteous has got a problem, because he's now not too sure his distance with where he needs to go. So again, it's just depending on where the players are on the pitch, with where you as a back three can organise in front of you and talk to, especially Ryan still. He's still a young lad. He's still learning the game. So it's important you've got a Scottish international behind you. Right, give him some learning, give him some help, and just encourage and talk to him at the right times of when you want him to just be in a little bit more. See, me now, I'd have Ryan tucked in a little bit, but just inside the pitch, not wide. So just in there, just like if that cover is in the middle of the pitch, But obviously that's if Millwall have got the ball. But now if Watford have got the ball, I want Ryan now to stay wider. So now Ryan can go wide, Porteous can go wider. So now there's that space that we're creating. Get Kiembe in these little gaps here, in the little 10 rolls. You've got Bayu up there isolating the centre half, which side it's on. So say if it's on Cooper's side, right, well, I'm isolating Cooper now. And then I've got the Georgian wizard. He's now occupying Hutchinson because he's got to make him think now with what he does. And then obviously, Ngakia now, you're the left wing back, but you don't need to be standing out there if the ball's on the right-hand side. You can come in. So you can come in now thinking about Leonard or making Eze make his mind up with what he's doing.
Sam,
so do you see what I'm saying, fellas? It's how you get your team to sort of move across from side to side. You can get the balance really well. I just think at times Watford they just look ragged because, one, it's the first game of the season, which we totally get. Two, it's a formation that some of the defenders are playing in different positions, like your Pollux on the left and your Porteous on the right, just because of that, with how narrow they were playing together and keeping the width a little bit when in possession. And then your midfield and your forward lines just giving that extra little bit of a sort of like a little bit more different in them final third entries when you play the ball forward into them.
Yeah, Robbo, it's quality stuff, mate. It kind of changed your perspective on how we're looking at the game. Sam, did you feel that when you were at the Den in the away ground that shape was? I mean, we've come accustomed to it at the back end of last season, but did you notice the sort of stuff that Robbo's mentioning there?
Yeah, I think it's like Robbo touched on there. It is a bit understandable with it being the first game of the season, and it's still relatively early in Tom Cleverley's tenure as well. And I think ultimately it will come with time. My slight concern, and again, this might just be because they're a bit rusty still after pre-season, first game of the season, was concentration. I think that went a little bit, particularly in that second half. We touched on that Ciaralta mistake for Millwall's first goal. It was almost like he wasn't really expecting it, which is why I think he sort of fell over and didn't get the connection that he wanted to on the clearance. And the second goal as well, the way that back five, the back three, the shape of it was just a bit all over the place. I think ultimately it comes down to concentration above anything else, really. And hopefully, obviously Pollock took a blow to the head, which definitely would have impacted him going into that last 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, hopefully it's something that will improve with time throughout the season.
Yeah,
just last one. Robbo, do you reckon, or have you played under any gaffers who have done it's a bit of a myth, but it might not be a myth, and apparently Roy Hodgson used to do it, getting the ropes in between the defenders to keep the shape. Have you ever done that?
No, for me it's simple stuff, and it's clear, and it'd be clear for Tom as well. It's like you always know that you need to do work on the team. That's just the way it is. Nothing's going to be perfect all the time, and it's like Sam's just said there. It's the first game of the season, but the most important thing is it's 3 points. Now, I wouldn't class these as negatives. I would class these as it's an improvement, how we can improve, and just think of once we improve and once we're cutting out the silly little errors and the silly goals that we give away. You think now that team, when they understand and they know what they're doing and they click, everything's there. Everything's there to go in a real positive way, and that's the way you look at it. So again, it's just Tom will be like, he'll be watching through it. He'll be putting stuff down, writing stuff down. They'll all sit together, the staff, and go, right, we need to do this work on the training ground today, fellas. Each game as it comes now, again, it's building. It's getting the players to understand it more and more. And then that's where your confidence grows in when things are like not only going well on the training pitch, but then in the games. But the biggest thing for me is that you come away from Millwall with 3 points. And that's the biggest positive out of it all, is that in normal years, Watford teams have been rolled over quite easy at Millwall, and I knew that last year when we played, and we highlighted the weaknesses against them, and yeah, we took them to the sword. But this year, like you say, when you're watching it first game, from the word go, you knew what Millwall were going to do, and there's heads being thrown in, long throws, Pollock, Siriata, even Sissoko, Bashiri, they're all throwing their bodies on the line. Your Jeremy Ngakiyas, and your Ryan, and like you say, they're putting themselves on the line and they're throwing their heads in there to get hurt. And that is what, for me, that's where I look like this is a different Watford team. And that's all down to Tom. That's down to Tom with what he wants and how he wants the players to defend.
Speaking of putting heads on the line, Jack said Pollard reminded me of Terry Butcher with the headband.
I feel like there was half the players had headbands on yesterday. It was such a throwback. It was like, it was mad. I loved it.
A few comments in the live chat. Ian, thanks so much, mate. This insight has to be worth a few thumbs up. If you could leave a like, it'd be massively appreciated. Make sure to follow Robbo across socials as well. Links in the description below. We've had a few comments, sort of. Ben, somebody signed Robbo up as our new defensive coach. Would love to see it. Mark's right. Away to Mill isn't going to be pretty. There was one about Rio. We'll do standouts, actually. Sam, thoughts Sissoko had a pretty good game. Seems like a decent signing. I think one of the goals, maybe not. But hopefully we don't overuse him like we did with Livermore and fade out in the second half of the season. Need another centre mid, in my opinion. There was a comment from Nick. It was nice to see a physical and athletic performance yesterday, something that we've lacked for a long time. Charlotte says, who knew scoring directly from a corner was actually possible and more importantly, actually allowed, or is it just me? Look, we've done some of the things that Watford need to improve on, Sam. And sort of the other side of it, the positives, we've gone away from home. We've scored 3 goals. Granted, 2 of them are from set pieces and one of them is an absolute worldie from the Georgian wizard, as Robbo says, Georgie Chakvetadze. Just first off, key moments, Kiembe's corner. Did it catch you completely off guard? Because to be honest, mate, I did not see it coming.
Yeah, I was really confused for a moment, to be honest with you, because firstly, seeing Watford get a set piece, a corner past the first man, I was thinking that's an achievement in itself, let alone seeing it go all the way into the back of the net. It was something that I thought of quite early in the game, that the Millwall goalkeeper Jensen looked a bit shaky, and I think it was an area that Millwall fans had spoken about before the game in pre-season. I think he didn't look the most confident, so I wonder if there was a part of before the game Clev saying just get it on top of the goalkeeper as close as you can to him, or in and around bodies in the box, and hoping that we get that stroke of luck, and ultimately we did. Like I said at the start, a goalkeeper probably shouldn't be conceding directly from a corner at this level, particularly when the conditions weren't overly windy or overly, I don't want to say difficult, but it wasn't really the wintry or autumn conditions that we see later on. So I think the goalkeeper will be really disappointed with that. But yeah, I learned a new word, Olympico. I'd never heard of that before in football. So yeah, that's a big thing.
That's directly from a corner, because I remember back in down Soccer AM, they used to do the corner kick challenge. I thought Soccer AM invented it, to be honest, but there we go. Half-time, Charlie, we're going at 1-0. I wanted to actually touch on the momentum bar. I mean, it'd be rude not to have you on the show and not talk about it.
Come on, man.
Charlie just loves a momentum bar, so much so we think it's his middle name. But go on, give us sort of rundown of how it changed and how things kind of swung, well, both ways really, when you look at it like that.
Yeah, so the reason I kind of wanted to highlight it was, again, kind of how we dealt with kind of adversity. And you could see at the beginning kind of Millwall putting it on us. I know it might be small, so apologies. That's right. And we got back into the game and we were controlling it. And that's when we scored from the corner. Millwall did kind of press on, but I didn't think they were that much of a threat. I can't remember any well, they did hit the post and Cyril to say went off the line. So maybe they were knocking on the door. But second half, again, they came out and then we kind of got control. That's when Georgie scored his free kick. And that's when kind of we let Millwall into the game, and that's when the mistakes came. But I just wanted to highlight this one after they scored their first, because I bet if you're watching it at home and you're thinking, oh, Watford scored, they're crumbling here. But I honestly don't think it was the case. I was really impressed with how we tried to play out from the back, retain possession, be smart with our passes, move it around. And it's just a shame that we showed in the clips earlier that it was just a kind of error that led to that turnover when we were so high up the pitch. And Watmore had that space. But again, I just wanted to highlight the great work that I think Clevs has done with his team and the way he wants to play. And they're showing some confidence and bravery on the ball and not shying away. And Tom Delly's kind of taking it on the turn. Sissoko's kind of calming it down and going backwards and just being smart with our passes. So although it might have looked like we crumbled, I actually thought we tried to deal with the situation well. Again, people might say we crumbled because it was an individual error, but as a team, and I thought our mentality was quite impressive. So that's why I wanted to whip out the momentum bar.
Yeah, for sure. I think also one man that if you play through him, you'll do well this season is Chakvetadze. I mean, look, Robbo, when you see him pick up the ball at 30 yards, 25 yards out. I mean, number one, the strike. I don't think many keepers are saving that. In fairness, the flight's beautiful. But also, actually, more from your perspective, Robbo, and I don't know if this happened a lot in your sort of coaching career, but how rare is it, I think, to see, well, anyway, at Watford, that a player's gone over to the manager after the opening day to celebrate with him. And I know it's a little thing that I just picked up on, but I don't know. Someone of Chakvetadze, I think on paper, is probably our most talented player, and the level he's played at. We saw what he did at the Euros at Georgia. If we can keep hold of him, I think he can really do well for us this season. But that sort of relationship, did you notice that, Robbo, when he's gone?
Yeah, and I noticed it because obviously last year Georgie wasn't involved too much, was he? He was in and out, come off the bench, play little bits and pieces of the games. And I think when you got a player like Georgie, that's your spark. And I think what it shows is Tom believes in him. Tom believes he's a good player. We've all seen at the Euros with Georgia, even the team itself, what quality they had in that team. And Georgie was a big part of that. Every time he got the ball, he looked like something was going to happen. And he was the same again yesterday at Millwall. Every time he got the ball, he created stuff. He brought other players into the game. Obviously, the worldie of a 30-yarder free kick. And then, the beautiful moment of going over to celebrate with Tom, because he's shown faith. He's going over to Tom to say, cheers, Gaffer, you believe in me. You're giving me my opportunity back, and you're giving me the opportunity to shine. And that's the type of players. Now, what you want to see with Georgie, you want to see Georgie now keep replaying that faith back to Tom. If he's putting that trust in him, then you've got to show that and give it back to him. And that's now just keep building on his performances week in, week out, and performing to them high standards that we know that he can do. It's just, for me, it's just a shame when you see players like that and they're not involved in games like last year. He's a match winner. But if your match winner's not going to be involved in the games because another manager doesn't think that he's good enough or he's ready enough, then there's a wasted talent sitting there at the club not doing anything. But now Tom believes that he's a talented player and he's gonna lift Watford to the expectations that he believes that he can do. So I mean, it was a great moment that they both shared, and what a fantastic free kick.
Mate, absolutely. Before we touch on some of the other standout performers, Sam, Robbo, I just wanted to touch on maybe just the front area of the pitch. You've obviously highlighted a lot of the back, but one of the big discussions around Watford fans at the moment is the number 9 spot, really. Obviously, Ryvich has come on, scored the winner. Bayo was not really in the game. I didn't think he had his best performance. We've been linked with a few strikers. Cleverly's mentioned that he's had a few targets. They haven't gone through. It looks like it's going to be the loan market, which might happen a little bit later on, depending on the Premier League clubs and stuff. Did you feel the number 9 or any other areas were a specific sort of target point that Watford should be going for in the rest of this window?
Yeah, I think that the striker's a big issue. I think that's the main one, but that's what every club wants. Everyone wants that number 9. They want the goal scorer, and the big clubs go and pay the big monies for them. So Tom will be frustrated, but what he's got to keep doing is he's got to keep just believing that one will pop up and it will happen for him. But it's also got to be the right player for Watford. It's got to be a player that Tom wants, who knows what Watford's all about, the community, bringing the player together, the understanding of what he wants to work in the team, and how the player now should come to Watford and believe that he's at the right club. And hopefully trying to find that player. I'm not too sure on Kiembe. I still find that he's in and out of games. I'd like to see if Tommy's going to play that formation, then someone with Georgie in there who's got that little bit more of clever movement, that can play in but can also play out, that can go wide and cause problems, like an Asprilla. So he's a big loss because of what he's like as a player. He's very creative and he's very dangerous when he gets on the ball. And I think another centre half, I'd like to see, like you say, maybe a ball playing centre half. If Tommy's going to play this way, then someone that is comfortable on the ball and can just hold on to it at the back and suck teams out and then play around them quickly. Yeah, just that ball playing centre half that can move it with pace and composure, and also demand of the players in front of him a lot better. But I think, like you say, I think Wes is one of those, because he will bring that natural balance with a left foot. So he will bring that to the team when he's back fit. But again, obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about Wes as well, whether he's staying or whether he's going. So Tom, again, will be, waiting on that one and knowing, right, okay, do I need to get a replacement? Yeah, I just think having that extra centre-half in there, just in case, just to be sure, would just give Watford that little bit more cover. And maybe a midfield player. If Sissoko or Bashiri went down, then what other options have they got in there?
Yeah, Robbo, I'm putting you on the spot a bit. Can you think of a player or a type of player similar that you've come across in the Championship that you talked about? I mean, I'm looking at Bayo's stats yesterday, and only Matija had less touches. I just thought we struggled to have any kind of focal point up front. Backman's passing. we just couldn't hold on to it. That's why we had to build up. But what kind of striker do you think we need? And is there any one that you can name or any similar one that you think would be good?
There's the ones that you, like you say, there's the Tom Cannon one who's gone to West Brom, unfortunately. I mean, he would have been perfect. Brom. Yeah, he's gone to West Brom, yeah. So he's gone on loan to West Brom. But there's players like that are out there. There's the ones that, again, the Premier League teams, obviously they're still in the end of their pre-season. Their season starts next week, so their squads will be narrowing down of, come on then, right, we've got a few players there that we might be able to get out on loan, which would be great for us. But yeah, I mean, with Bayo, and it's no fault of his own, but is it a position that he really enjoys playing? Does he like playing that role? Because he's not a physical striker, is he? He's not someone that's going to put his body in the line where a defender's going to come through the back of him and he's going to win free kicks. He doesn't really make them clever runs. So with like the two centre-halves at Millwall yesterday, no disrespect to them, but they struggle with being dragged out to the wide areas. When did Bayo ever drag either one of them out to the wide areas in between the fullbacks and the centre-half space? Not really. So yeah, I would think that Tom would be looking for someone that's quite mobile up there, because you've got your Georgian behind again, who keep your striker nice high, keep him up against centre-halves. Now that space is created now for Georgie to get on that ball. So now his creativity now opens up even more spaces when your centre forwards dragging them players away from the game. And then, like you say, if Tom Ince, I know Tom Ince he's had a good pre-season. So again, he might come into it because he's got clever movement in one of them 10 positions. He might link up well with Georgie, them two in there, because they can play either side. They can change to the left and the right as well.
Yeah.
Just while you mentioned Tom Ince, sorry, like he got we signed him on a 2-year contract start of last season. He's got a new deal. Obviously, he's 32 or 31, 32. Robbo, give us a bit of insight in terms of how valuable a player of that standard or experience is, because some of the fan base are thinking he didn't do anything under the last manager. He's 33. Why are we giving him a contract? What did you make of that?
Yeah, obviously you always go, yeah, what's that one all about? But what you've got to look at as well is Tom's been through all the leagues and he's played at the highest level and he understands this level, and you need them experienced players as well. Whether they're going to play as much as what they'd like, that's a conversation now with the manager. But obviously Tom wants him around. He knows what qualities he's got. Well, I know what qualities he's got, and Tom can, again, he's someone who individually can win a game by himself. And that's the type of players you need sometimes in the team, is that you know that, all right, sometimes you might not start, but at least then you might get 45 or you might get 60 minutes where you're going to come on now and you're going to go, wow, here we go. He's just changed the game for us. And Tom's one of them players. But I think he will get more game time. I think Tom will want him to get involved more. Again, using his knowledge and experience in the team. And it would be really helpful as well if he, like you say, someone with Ryan on that side, just that experience, obviously the youthfulness of Ryan, he just needs maybe that extra little bit of experience head around him just to coach him and manage him through the game as well when it's going on.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of comments. Ben says, Ince and Loser are decent players frozen out by Val. I think they can contribute this season given the chance. Stuart Scott agrees with Robbo. Kiembe isn't a 10 for me. Really think Ince or Vattel will end the season alongside Chakvetadze in the front three. There was another comment from Nick saying he agrees Kiembe is not a 10, he's an 8. Sam, just on a few standout players, we mentioned Chakvetadze with an unbelievable free kick. Got to give a shout out to Rajovic, because look, don't get me wrong, I think that a lot of people have question marks over Rajovic, but one thing you can never doubt is that he does give 100%, and when he's in the box, he does deliver. We saw it last season. He ended as our top goal scorer. He even said in his post-match, which I thought was fascinating, I picked up on a line where he said, "My job starts when I'm in the box." Now, it's quite rare for a striker to admit that, because I think, especially in the modern game, a lot of strikers like to be involved in the build-up, they like to drop short, like to go in behind. He basically says, when I'm in the box, that's when I switch on and that's when I'm playing my best football. So as a moment as well, it could be one of the moments of the season, but just on him and standout performance for Watford's yesterday as well.
Yeah, delighted for Rajovic. Both a bit concerning and good to hear that he said he only switches on or he comes to life pretty much when the ball is in the box, as I do think it's still an area of his game that he slightly needs to work on, is his build up. But I think this is what his role can be this season, that when Watford need a goal or need a bit more of a focal point up top and he comes on and contributes to the game like that, I think that's exactly what he can do. I still wouldn't have him starting despite Bayo's poor performance yesterday, I'd say. But in terms of coming on for the last 5-10 minutes of a game and putting it on a plate for him from 6 yards out. I know it took a deflection, but yeah, that's perfect for Mileta.
Double pivot, Charlie, Sissoko, Dele-Bashiru. Something that we predicted beforehand. Look, my only reservation is sort of how many minutes Sissoko gets this season. But I guess in terms of just with him being turning 35, he's in the last stage of his career. I think 46 games is a lot for him to manage. I thought Dele-Bashiru was one of our brighter players as well. I think the one thing you say about Dele-Bashiru is he picks up the ball in tight areas and he's technically got the ability to get us out of trouble. I think the same with Georgie. He can get us up the pitch, especially when you're away at home. It relieves a lot of pressure. I think he's got the ability to do that. But that too, I'll cross the Robbo actually, what you need in a double pivot in a 3-4-3. But Charlie, that too, did you feel the balance was there?
I was quite impressed with Sissoko. I thought he was just a calming influence on the game. And we haven't really had that really. Someone just put their foot on the ball and play the easy pass. And yeah, I was impressed with his performance. Tom, we know what he's about. Although Tom sometimes does he think he's got too much time in it and get caught possession, but I think he's just easing his way back in. But yeah, I think those two showed really good quality. But I'll pass over to Robbo really because he highlighted kind of those two midfields. So Robbo, why did you think they were good?
Yeah, no, I thought they both complemented each other really well. I think like the experienced head of Sissoko and the young energy of Bashiri, I thought, yeah, they bounced off each other. Yeah, really well in the team. Like you say, the linking off the back three as well at times. Like Dele wanted to get on the ball, turn in tight areas, and he even showed that acceleration to get away from players like George Savills, and he drove Watford up the pitch in the dying moments of the games as well. So yeah, for me it was quite refreshing to see that good balance in there. But like you say, yeah, touching on that one, Charlie, as well, it's how many minutes are we expecting from Sissoko? Is his legs at some point going to feel the intensity of the Championship, especially when it starts becoming the Saturday Tuesdays? Tom now, he'll have options in mind. Again, it's just getting the business done. This is the most important thing now is getting your business done and getting the players through the door. And then Tom can get them on the training ground and he can work with them and get the squad that he wants. And now we've got it, it's there, and he's happy. And then we can build on it. That's what Tom needs now. He just needs all the people that he wants in, get him through the door, get it done nice and early, and now we can crack on with how he wants the team to play.
Yeah, last 10 minutes of the show. So if you have any questions for Robbo just on Watford or him in general, let us know in the comment section below. I guess the question we always do each week, Sam, man of the match, is an interesting one. I mean, I've seen the two. It's a lot of people have said it's either Georgie or Pollock.
Yeah, Matty edges it just for me. I think in terms of the moments of magic within the game and getting Watford up the pitch, Chakvetadze gets that. We know how good he is, but I think there's so many things at play with Pollock. Yesterday, we think back, Rob, I'm not sure if you were at Millwall at the time. If you think back 2 years ago where Millwall beat us 3-0 and Tom Bradshaw scored a hat-trick and Pollock got absolutely torn apart. I think it was his first start for Watford, and there are some fans who turned around after that game and said they never want to see Pollock playing a Watford shirt again. And if you look at it 2 years now, how Matty Pollock's developed as a player to the absolute warrior that he was yesterday, getting his head on everything, the physicality that he showed. Yes, like we've spoken about in the show, there are some slight problems with him playing on that left-hand side of the back three, and potentially he could be a bit better in some parts of his game. But I thought the commitment, the effort, the leadership that he showed, for me, he was my man of the match, and just how far he's come in the last 2 years, I think is excellent for him and for us as Watford fans.
Yeah, it's interesting. Nick in the comment section says Sissoko is a machine. I don't think the Liverpool comparison is a fair one in terms of his legs. He was the difference for me yesterday. Jim says Pollock could be a future captain.
I mean, Robbo, for you being at Millwall a couple of years ago when Pollock had that difficult night at the Den, how do you see the way that his game's developed in the last 2 years in particular?
Yeah, I think it's amazing, but that's true testament to him as well, as a lad, as a player, because sometimes it's not easy when you get that criticism and you get thrown in the deep end like he did, because again, it was his first game and we knew that, we highlighted it. So when you come to the Den and you're coming up against someone like Tom Bradshaw and Pollock's going to be starting his first game, he was our target. We highlighted that as our target just to put him under as much pressure as possible. And yeah, he had a bad night. And you do, as players, you have bad nights, but it's how you react from that and how you recover from that. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Sam. I thought he was man of the match up there with Bashiri and Georgie yesterday. I thought they were the three standouts for me, the ones who sort of drove the team forward. And Matty, put his head on the line numerous occasions, but also showed good composure at times as well, which was good, even though, like we say, it's not naturally his best position on the left-hand side.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Ngakia as well. Obviously playing as that left wing back. He's had his difficulties at Watford and injury problems, but I spent the summer watching Kieran Trippier play a left back, but I thought Jez done a lot better job than Kieran done. I thought he was a bit of a threat going forward. He looked dangerous cutting in, but then defensively, most tackles out of anyone he played. He won 9 kind of ground duels, so I think he done his job. And we looked at the average positions. He was definitely a lot more defensive than Ryan. That might have been a tactic that we kind of want to do that kind of L shape and get Ryan more on, but shout out to Ngakia because I thought he did really well yesterday.
That's the difference, though, Charlie, as well. When you noticed it, when Jeremy went off and obviously Sema come on, that's when Millwall started getting into that area. That was the difference, because Jeremy naturally defensively got himself in good positions, but then obviously Sema's come on now at left wing back, and he's a winger. He just wants to go forward, and sometimes you forget about your defensive duties, especially away against a team like Millwall, and obviously the momentum of the goal. That's when now, like you say, like your players like your Sissokos and Bashiris, they calm things down and they never hid. They were like, let's get the ball down. Let's get the ball down and keep it and play, and we'll get an opportunity. And like you say, could have easily lost the game going back to 2-2, but they showed great character and ball in the box, and Rahovic there with, like you say, I put the ball in the box. He's like Djukovic. He's the same player as Djukovic. He's someone that you know that I'm not going to link play, but when you get that ball wide and you put it in the box, I'm going to score, and that's what he's all about. And he did it against Millwall at home, Watford at Vicarage Road, when he equalised. That he come on, and our main threat is when the ball goes wide, fellas, you got to stop it, because now when the ball comes in the box, he's going to be a problem for us, because if he gets above you, he's going to score. And what did he do? He got the equaliser to make it 2-2.
And then we go. There was a comment. This is a really interesting one, actually. Mark Schofield. Ngakia left wing back with 3 left-footed left wing backs on the bench, which I only just noticed now. Obviously, we had Sema, as Robbo mentioned. James Morris is at left back, not really a wing back, but even Larucci's obviously come in on loan. So I wonder if that says a lot about what Cleverley thinks of Ngakia as well. Just a few comments from Robbo. We're going to go quick fire here for the people who are watching. Thanks so much to everyone who's watching today. Really, really good numbers. Charlie Bush, friend of the channel. Question for Robbo: start, bench, sell Luther, John Barnes, Deeney.
Yes, here we go. Here we go.
Start, bench, sell. So I'm gonna have to say sorry, Luther. You're gonna have to be sold. Deeney on the bench and John Barnes to start.
Barnes has got to start.
Got to be done. There was one which said, Robbo, if you had to pick one position for what... Oh, no, here we go. Charlotte, any plans to come to a game at the Vic this season, Robbo?
If I'm still out of work, yeah, probably. I've probably got loads of time to spare from my hands. No, I always like coming back to watch games when I can. I'd love to pop down to the Vic and watch a game.
If you can get us a +3 for the hospitality, yeah, Robbo?
Yeah, no worries.
Get on the
live streaming there as well for the game.
Dangerous.
Charlie, I'd written down in the notes before we started today, you had a hot take that you wanted to reveal to people. Now, we did our predictions video last week. Charlie had the opportunity to throw out some controversial takes, and he still wants to throw another one out. Go on, mate.
No, I'm not throwing another one out. I'm highlighting my prediction that I said.
After game week one.
I said Watford will be comfortable this season, no threat of going down, and we will spend some time in the top 6. Have a look at the table. There we go. Anyway, I've got one last question for Robbo as well. Robbo, we're looking to get other kind of former Watford players on here. So who would be the best and worst former Watford player to get on a stream with us to analyse a game?
I would say best for a game would probably be Tommy Smith, because he watches the games. He's at the Vic watching the games. So Tommy Smith would be a good one to get on there. Tommy Mooney as well. Obviously, Tommy's done the commentary from numerous years.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Moons as well. Tommy. Worst one would probably have to be Derek Payne. If you had the option of phoning Payney, he would be one.
Isn't that his job on the radio?
Is he on the radio? Is he? Even in Rambo.
He's on
Rambo
BBC Three
as well.
Counties.
Them two would be they'd probably be the best duet, but the worst duet to have on there. Peter Ramage. God, jeez, imagine him.
Amazing track. I think that's where we're going to leave it. Charlotte says, terrific game and a great guest to kick off WD18 content for the new season. It was the red shorts that did it. Robbo, mate, what a pleasure. Sunday night, giving us an hour of your time. That insight was amazing, mate. We'd love to get you back on before the end of the season. Hopefully before, I'm sure the offers will be coming in, mate, and you'll be back on the training pitch. But what a pleasure, mate, and thanks so much.
No worries, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, lads. Good to see you again.
Man. Sam, rest up, mate. Rest up your voice, Charlie.
Just for Robbo as well, give a shout out to the one-to-one coaching you're doing, and we can share all the links as well. So what exactly are you doing for anyone who wants to get involved and know about? Or is it only elite players?
He said I could be half decent if I train with you, Robbo.
It's all grassroots. I was born and bred through grassroots, and I know how important it is to local communities. And yeah, for me, it was my local community where I live in Warwickshire. I just wanted to give something back. I just wanted to pass on my knowledge. I wanted to help the kids in my area sort of learn from what I've learned and how I can help them improve. So yeah, it's just Paul Robinson Coaching. That's what it is on my socials. So if you want to follow and you want to have a look, obviously can't guarantee you. It's a long old drive up from Watford if you want a one-to-one. So if it is, I'll have to make it worth your while, and it'll be a good 1 hour session for you. So yeah, you'll enjoy it. It'd be good.
Do you reckon you can sort my touch out, mate? I was all over for Sunday.
We'll try our best for you, Jacob. Don't worry about that, mate.
It's in an hour session.
Robbo, what a man. Thanks.
It might be a 2 hour session, that one, Jacob, not 1 hour.
Robbo crossing in the balls, mate, the back post will take it. Thanks so much to everybody who watched today, guys. Really do appreciate it. Shout out to Robbo, Sam, and Charlie, and we'll see you in the next one. Make sure if you do leave a like on the way, it'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe to WD18. Follow Rob on his social. Make sure you check out his coaching as well. What a man. He's going to sort me out. He can sort you out as well. Take care of yourselves and up the orders. You odds.